What is up, guys? It is me, Heidi Powell. You know that because you are here on my channel, and today we're going to talk about something that I have gotten a lot of questions about over especially the past year. You guys have seen, I've gone through a divorce. We've all been through this crazy year called 2020, and I have people looking at me saying, Heidi, how do you make it through tough times? That's what we're going to talk about today. Well, guys, so 2020, I can't say that it's just been a crazy year for me. It has been a crazy year for everybody, but I don't want to act like my problems or what I've dealt with exceed the level of discomfort or the level of devastation or trauma that maybe you're feeling, because I think we all are feeling it. And I think it's completely relative whether you're in my situation and you've experienced a divorce with 4 kids, or you're a small business owner who has seen your business go out of business, or you're an employee that has lost a job and you're finding another one, or maybe you're just paralyzed by the fear of what's happening of this time. I mean, guys, 2020, and hey, I don't care if you're watching this in 2020, because I'm posting this in 2020 at the end, or if you're watching this in 2021, 22, 2010, the reality is that at some point in every single one of our lives, and chances are at many, many, many points, we are all going to experience really, really hard times. Now, it just so happens that this video is being shot in a time where I personally, and I think everybody watching this, we're experiencing our first global pandemic. Divorce happens a lot. I mean, I've been through 2 of them. Death happens a lot. It does. I mean, it's going to happen, and it has happened to every person that's come before us. Sickness happens a lot. Losing jobs happens a lot. Losing your businesses happens. All of these things happen a lot, and they will continue to happen forever. We are at a point, guys, though, where we are experiencing something that hopefully does not happen a lot. But here's what I want to say before I get into how to make it through tough days. Guys, if you're watching this and you are one of the people that lived through the 2020 global pandemic, and not just the pandemic, but 2020 in general, I'm not even going to name the things from murder hornets to all of the things that happened in this insane year. We did it. I'm so emotional these days, but truly we have all together made it through a really hard year. And I know a lot of people in my life and people just in general on social media saying, F 2020, let's have 2020 be a thing of the past. But I want to take today, guys, and really help you reframe the way that we look at 2020. Because, I mean, think about when we're working out. How do we actually build muscle? If we want to build muscle, we have to break it down first. How are diamonds created? Diamonds are created by pressure. If pressure wasn't a thing, we wouldn't have diamonds. I mean, all of the goodness that we are is truly a result of the hard that we have been through. So 2020, yes, it was a hard year, and it's almost over. I need you guys to know I will forever be grateful for 2020, for the divorce, for what I witnessed, for the tough times in my businesses, for the chaos of having to have 4 kids learn in my home that is a third the size of the home that I moved from. Literally, guys, the pressure of 2020 has been so much. And the greater the pressure, the brighter the diamond will shine. We all have this opportunity now to look back on 2020 and look at how difficult things were, and look to see how we made it through those hard times and use that experience for future hard times. And I can promise you that when you try on a hard time in the future, when you come across something hard in 5 years, you will always have 2020 to look back on and say, it wasn't nearly as hard as what I went through. If I can do that, I can do anything. It's almost like I've had 4 babies, 4 pregnancies, 4 childbirths. All 4 of them were difficult. The last 2, I had babies without an epidural. Why did I do it? I did it because I wanted to be able to say, if I can make it through this, I can make it through anything physically. Because what is the saying? Natural childbirth is the hardest thing in the world. And will argue that because I think kidney stones hurt more. Kidney stones definitely hurt more, and I made it through that too. But I want you guys all to think of all the greatness that comes out of hard times. And I also want you to take this as an opportunity to think anytime a challenge comes up in the future, when you feel stopped, when you feel like you can't make it through, when you feel like you won't see the light of day tomorrow, remember, you will, and in that hard time is the most beautiful lesson and the most truly glorious gift coming out of what is currently hard. So that is number one. We all have this idea when we're in a hard time, when we have a baby, when we get fired from a job, whatever it is, whatever you're going through right now, whenever you are watching this, we have this idea that, gosh, I wish things would just return back to normal. If any of you have been with parents who have divorced, you think in your mind, I wish things could go back to normal. I wish we could get through this. My parents could get back together and things could go back to normal. If you are inside of a divorce yourself, I mean, how many times have you thought, I wish I could go back to normal. I want things to return to normal again. I think it's really important to understand that when change happens in our lives, I believe that change is the catalyst or the reminder that the old normal was no longer working. And it's time to create, it's a blessing that we now get to create a new normal. And I also believe that any choice we make into that new normal is the right choice if we believe it's the right choice. So that's something I want you to think about is no matter what you do, no matter where you go, when you're in a hard time, the choice you make is going to be the right choice because you make it the right choice. I mean, think about it. When you make a choice, and you're constantly questioning, oh my gosh, is this the right choice? Am I doing the right thing? Should I have done the other thing? Should I have gone the other direction? You're not maximizing the direction, the path, and the choice that you made. Think about how different it could be. When you wake up one day, you're having a rough day, yesterday's behind you, and you think, okay, what am I gonna do today? What if you had complete certainty with the choices you made that day and you knew whatever you did was the way that you should go and the thing that you should do to get you to where you want to be? What if all of the energy was poured into the things that you were thinking about and dreaming about instead of thinking about, worrying about, stressing about all the things that you probably should have done different? And so as we are making it through hard days, that is a very, very important thing. Another thing I want you to think about as you are making it, how do you get through tough days, tough times, tough years, tough decades? And this might be the most important one. Give yourself some grace. You have to give yourself some grace. You are one person. You are doing the absolute best that you can do. Sometimes I believe that when I feel like I'm having a hard day, I don't even know necessarily. I think all the things happening to me are making it a hard day or a hard year. I think COVID is making it hard. I think all of these things that are coming on me are what's making it feel so heavy and hard. But the reality is when I stop to dig in to what's really making it hard, it's the pressure that I'm putting on myself to perform or to be a certain way. It's the pressure I'm putting on myself to be the perfect teacher for my kids when I'm not a teacher. It's the pressure I put on myself to have a successful business in a time where I can't control 90% of what's happening. It's the pressure I put on myself to have my body look a certain way when I can't make it to the gym like I normally do. It's all of these things, these pressures that have me feeling and telling myself and lying to myself that I am not good enough. So if we can just stop for a minute, recognize that you are not alone. I'm not alone. None of us are alone, whether we're still in the middle of this pandemic when you watch this, or whether you are just in the middle of 2050. We're all going through something hard. We all are. You are not alone. I am not alone. Let's both promise that we are going to give ourselves a little extra grace as we move on to the next thing. The final thing I want to talk about in how to make it through tough times. The pandemic hadn't even started when Chris and I, my ex-husband, second ex-husband, I feel like I always have to say that, when we split August 2019. So the pandemic hadn't happened. The world did not know that we were splitting. I was going through probably the hardest point in my life. I was depressed, I was anxious, I was all of the things trying to keep this secret and figure out how I was going to tell the world and my kids and all of the people in my life that we were splitting. And I immediately dug in to setting and reaching a goal and a dream of my own. It was so vitally important to me. I dove into something that lit my soul on fire. I did something that had no monetary gain, but was something that truly made me feel like I was delivering and making an impact on the world that I never knew I was capable of. I leaned in to that feeling of loneliness and sadness and failure. I embraced failure and created something that I believed could help somebody else going through exactly what it is that I am going through. And I actually created my very first ever product using all of my failures, all of my experience. It's called Secrets of Goal Setting. So I'm telling you right now, one of the best things you can do in a hard time is set a goal and take the necessary steps to actually reach that goal. I set a goal, and it was to create a product, create something for the world that could help them through tough times. So inside of this, I actually talk through. So the very first thing I want you to do, well, actually, before I even talk about that, let me tell you why a goal is so important. I think it's important for you to know, why is it important to make and reach a goal? Number one, I mean, from my story alone, I think you could tell that setting and achieving a goal, it's therapy. It's literally free therapy. I don't know if I would say free, because I paid money to make this thing happen. I paid in sweat, I paid in blood, I paid in tears, all of the things. But it is a very cheap form of therapy. It's very important. Number two, it creates an immense amount of self-love. And why does it create self-love? Because of number three, it shows you can do hard things. When you speak a goal into existence, when you say you want something to happen and you actually believe in yourself, and then you take the steps necessary to get to where you want to go, you know you can do hard things. And when you know you can do hard things, you actually begin to love who you are. You begin to appreciate what you were put here on earth for. You begin to see your purpose. Another thing it does, and this is a really big one for me, it forces you to prioritize your life and put the big rocks in first. I don't know if you've ever heard that analogy. I don't want to go into it right now. I've done it on my YouTube channel before in my course, which we posted here. But if you have a jar and you have a bunch of big rocks and you have a bunch of sand, if you try and put the sand in first, which is all the mini things like, saying yes to this person and this person, this person, going to the mall, all the fun things in life, if you say yes to all of that first, and then you try and put your big rocks in, which is like loving your kids, taking care of yourself, going to the gym, practicing your faith, it's not all gonna fit. But when you empty the jar, which is your life, and you put the big rocks in first, which is loving yourself, taking care of yourself, going to the gym, spending quality time with your kids, giving time to your spouse, whatever it is that those are your big rocks, and then you pour the sand in after. Sand being those things, hey, maybe you still have time to take so-and-so to the airport. Maybe you still have time to go to the mall or whatever it is you want to do. But when we put the big rocks in first, when we prioritize, everything falls into place. Setting a goal, knowing it's a priority, and achieving that goal allows us to prioritize all of those things in our life. Now, final thing I'm going to say about setting this goal is, what if you don't know what kind of a goal to set? It's okay. Remember, I said earlier in the video, whichever direction you choose to go is the right direction. Even if it means you toy around with this idea for a month or 2 months, maybe a year, you've been trying to decide which big dream you want to dream. I would say do a thing called a dream dump. A dream dump is where you get a big whiteboard, or maybe you have a notebook where you write everything. Maybe it's in your phone on notes, whatever it is. I want you to dump out every single idea, every single dream that your brain can conceive, whatever it is. And here's the big thing about a dream dump. You cannot judge yourself. Trust me, I am somebody where dreaming has been hard for me my entire life, not because I don't know how to dream, not because I don't know how to create, although I used to tell myself I didn't know how to dream and I didn't know how to create. I didn't know how to accept the dreams that my mind was dreaming. I mean, there's a part of me that was embarrassed. Oh my gosh, I'm thinking so big. What are they gonna think about me if I tell them I'm dreaming up this massive thing? And what am I gonna tell myself if I can't reach that goal or if I can't reach that dream? Getting those dreams out, getting those goals on paper is so insanely important, because if they are not there, you will never, ever, ever do the things that you need to work towards those goals. Guys, there is so much we can do in these tough times. There is so much. Again, whether you're still in pandemic, whether we are out of it by the time you're watching this, know that there is never hopelessness when you are in tough times. If you are in a tough time, this video, let it serve as a reminder that this is the time where you are on the verge of something great. You are growing, you are developing, you are cocooning into the most beautiful butterfly. Rewatch this video over and over. I don't even know if YouTube has a bookmark, but bookmark it if you can. Save the link and watch this anytime you're discouraged. I promise you, you have what it takes. You're going to get through this and you are going to be so much stronger on the other side. All right, on that note, make sure you comment below. Let me know what else I can help you through. I am here for you. I love you. Make sure and subscribe. Mwah.